Let's cut the cap with Bret Hart in Montreal. Bret did nothing wrong, and the debate is not even close. Let's break down the details. Bret Hart signed a 20-year contract for over $1 million a year with Vince. Vince offered that money. Vince guaranteed that money with a legally binding contract with his ink, his signature on the paper. So already, Vince, you're dead to rights when you're turning around 20 minutes later to Bret and say, you know what, I'm a little short, check my couch, don't got no $1 million. That's your problem, Vince. And when you're saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to fulfill that contract, you have violated a legally binding contract, and Bret had every right in the world to take you to court to enforce your contractual obligations. Because guess what? Vince was able to find that money just a couple of months later when he signed Mike Tyson for millions upon millions of dollars, 3 months of work? So give me a break. So we already have Vince caught in some shenanigans right there. But then, still, Bret, he didn't want to go. He was forced out. He still said, you know what, Vince, I'm going to let you out. I'm not going to give you any drama about it. But built into that contract was the creative control clause in the final stages of the contract. Again, Bret didn't make that up. That was built into the contract that Vince signed. Again, another legally enforceable clause that Vince agreed to. So Bret had every right to refuse to do the job to Shawn Michaels, an insubordinate employee who should have been the one that Vince walked up to and said, hey, not going to happen. I'm not paying you the contract. You can join your boys, your buddies in Atlanta. That would have been the better move. But no, Vince goes up to Bret and says, hey, I need you to do the job for the boy toy in Montreal in Canada, where Bret's value as a wrestler was based out of. WCW wanted Bret because Bret could get them into the Canadian market, the European market. Bret didn't have to destroy his rep by doing a job there, especially in such a contested storyline where he's the Canadian hero. He had every right to say no, and there was absolutely no threat of him walking into WCW with that belt. That's a made-up story by Vince. WCW was never going to do that because they were so legally scared of Vince and his litigious nature after the whole Diesel and Razor jump. It wasn't going to happen. And Bret wasn't going to do it either. He had no reason to, and he offered to drop the title in a myriad of ways according to his contractual obligations, which was he had creative control. Okay? That was the clause. So don't tell me he should have dropped the belt to Shawn. He didn't have to. Bret did nothing wrong.